We are Meshcapade.
Let's get started.
Okay, we want to showcase to you guys what we're working on. So this is the future of digital humans and AI-driven motion. Okay, my name's Nathan. I'm an engineer at Meshcapade, and so I joined Meshcapade with a background in VR. So I was making training simulations for pilots and scuba divers and stuff like that. And so now I work with synthetic data, generating synthetic data, and also integrating our technology into different platforms. So we want to talk through some of our core technologies and also show some stuff that we're working on. So some of our future sneak peeks. Okay, so this is our website. The URL is meshcapade.me. In our platform, you can create and animate avatars in a bunch of different ways. It can be from scratch, from an image, from a scan, or from a video. So if you click on the pink guy over there, you can create an avatar from video that we call Meshcapade. So this is single camera, markerless mocap. You guys like that? Okay, so this is the Meshcapade page. It recovers body shape, motion, and camera from a single video. We recently released multi-person support, which is really cool. So this is just a bunch of sample videos that you can try out for free. And of course, you can upload your own video. We support MOV and MP4. We'll just pick this video here on the bottom. So you just click create avatar on the top right. It will upload your video and start processing it. And so this is the result of that video. So again, this is any video file. It does full body, and also it does fingers. And you don't need any depth sensors or lasers or anything, just any video file. This is another result. Something I wanted to point out here is that the camera also can move, right? It doesn't need to be on a tripod. So we solve camera motion and camera intrinsic, so it tries to guess the FOV and stuff like that. So this one is actually showing it. So if you see over here, you can see that the camera is moving around, and then that's our estimation of what the camera is doing. And so when you download the file, we'll give you the body motion, the body shape, but we'll also give you the camera that you could use in your 3DC. So that quickly is kind of where things currently are. And so last GDC, basically the biggest thing that was asked for was fingers and faces. Faces is not quite ready for prime time yet. This is some development tests. This is another one. We're working on teeth, tongue, and internal mouth geometry, which isn't pictured here. Another thing we're working on is human object or human scene interaction. Of course, this is very important if the person has to do anything other than just interact with themselves. This eventually is going to solve the foot sliding problem. Another one of our big accomplishments this year was getting all of this in real time. This is our CEO and CTO testing this out. We have a demo of this over here you can try out. It's running at about like 50 to 20 frames a second. So again, full body, real time, no lasers, no depth, just single camera, RGB. And you can get the motion as like an FBX or GLB and just put it into your game. We're working on an on-prem solution. So basically unlimited processing volume and all the privacy you need. This is something a lot of people have asked for. That would enable you also to do this just in your office or in your hub. So way easier because you don't have to put on a mocap suit. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to use a special camera. You could just use any video and just plug your cell phone and do it straight up. Another really awesome thing we've done this year is reconstructing grooms from a single image. And after this talk, you can try this demo right here. So it takes like 15 seconds and it's really fun. You can turn off the gravity and change your hairdo and stuff like that. So before too long, in the near future, we hope to have faces and hair all from your cell phone or web camera. Okay, so text emotion is another thing that you can do on our platform. We've trained a neural network that maps human motion to language. And so we can ingest giant mocap libraries without any additional like labeling or annotation. So it knows enough about motion and language to be able to find you what you need. You can see, you can change the shape of the person. The models are very aware of human proportions, and so there's this specific sliders over here. And so you can capture on one body, change the body, and then export the whole thing off the platform. Okay, so this isn't like hand annotated, so it's not like somebody went through and typed swim or breaststroke or whatever. It just, based on its knowledge of motion, it will find what you need in a giant, like, long sequence of actions. And this is all free to try out right now. This is live at meshcapade.me. But what I wanted to show you is this, which is the future of text to motion. So motion retrieval is obviously limited to your database or your library, but with motion generation, you just generate what you need. And so this video is showing true generated motion. And so this is really fun to watch because it's not physics, it's not canned animation, it's not blending between motions. This is pure generated motions. And it's cool because nothing is the same. It's very interesting to watch. Like this guy's like doing your grab walk. The reason I'm showing you this is that this is the future of text to motion, is language aware motion generation. So this is kind of like the early state where it knows, okay, I'm walking left, but eventually it will, walk left scared and it's raining, hop on one foot to the left scared and it's raining. You can add layers and eventually it will know how to do stuff like that. But when it comes to games, obviously real-time interaction is very important. And this shows two things that, we're aware of this and we're working on this. You can like poke the character with this foam finger, or there's this magnet that will pull the character. And again, this is generating all motion on the fly. So the intention here is to enable users to create animation for player characters, NPCs, that have realistic behaviors that don't rely on handcrafted animation. Okay, so once you have a motion, either from video or from text, it's basically useless unless if you can actually download it. So say we want to use this karate motion. So you upload the video and then it shows up in your library. And so this is an example of that character's recovered motion and body shape from video. And so all you have to do is just like download here, and then you could download a GLB or FBX. It has a compatibility mode. You don't have to use that. It's just will help you a little bit, maybe depending on what you want to do. It's an FBX or GLB, so you can just take it anywhere at that point, and that's usually enough for most people. So we've open sourced a bunch of tools, and so we just wanted to quickly show two examples. So the first one is an Unreal Engine. So on our platform, you click the little Meshcapade logo on the top, and then there's plugins. We have Unreal, Fortnite, Blender, and Maya right now. Before I continue, I just want to show you this. On the website, we have this massive amount of information for getting motion, getting it into Unreal, retargeting it, editing it, whatever you need to do. There's a lot of information there, and you can just go right now and get in. So you download the plugin. There's a plugins folder. You drop it into the top level of your Unreal project. Next time you open up a project, it will see the plugin. So you import the FDX, you assign a skeleton that comes with the plugin, or you just assign none. Make sure import animations is on. And then this is the motion now in Unreal of that thing. Maybe this is enough for you, where you have it and you want to use it directly. But what a lot of people would probably want to do is put it onto their own character. So we provide an Unreal, like a pre-existing retargeter for this. So just right click on the motion, select the target, assign a targeter that comes with the plugin, assign a skeleton. So now you have that motion on the Unreal mannequin. And so this, if you use Unreal at all, this is a very familiar character. You may already have your own retargeter. Then you can just edit that retargeter or retarget directly and just put it onto all sorts of different characters, and it handles body proportions and all that kind of stuff. So of course this works with any kind of motion you get from the platform. So video, text, whatever, you could just pull it out. I'll give it to you. I'm going to hand it over to Ruben. I don't know if anyone has any questions about Unreal or I just know.
Thank you, Nathan.
So, all right, so I'm Ruben. I'm part of the synthetic data team at Meshcapade. And before Meshcapade, I spent a big chunk of my career working in film, visual effects, especially my domain of interest was crowd simulation. Yeah, I had to deal with a lot of animation data, a lot of assets, and you see how that plays a part with what Meshcapade offers. Today I'm going to talk to you about an experimental plugin that we've been developing in Houdini. Houdini plugin, I mean. Which is not something that is currently on the platform, but if you're interested in this, just come talk to me after the talk and I can point you to the right place. So Nathan has shown how we can leverage Meshcapade's technology from the platform as well as from the real plugin. And now we're gonna explore how we could leverage it in a different DCC, in this case, Houdini. And we believe this is important because we acknowledge that different DCCs bring something different to the table, so have different strengths and weaknesses. Houdini is particularly good at generating a lot of data, and it's also particularly good at geometry manipulation. We're gonna look at how we can bring our SMPL model into the equation to see what workflows we can unlock, but one step at a time. The simplest thing you can do, obviously, is one character, and then this is Houdini's interface. For those who are familiar with it, that will be obvious, but Houdini is a node-based editor, and with the plugin that we've developed, this should be fairly simple to just from random parameters, which is these numbers that you see at the bottom, you get a different body shape. It's not only the geometry, you also have the rig ready to go. Some parameters control body shape, some others control the facial expression, body pose. And if we expose this parameterization in a nice way to the user, it can lead to very powerful workflows. For instance, take two archetype only shapes, and you can blend in between. And this traditionally would have meant a lot of complicated logic or a lot of manual work. And here it's just that with a slider, you can just interpolate it between two body shapes, and you got the rig skeleton ready to go. And because we are already inside of Houdini, you can just simply use the tools that Houdini comes with. In this particular case, I'm just adding like a very simple node to modify the pose and just rotating the joints using an FK manipulation, I guess, of the joints. But in the same way, you could think that taking it a step further would mean like we go from parameters to an animator control rig with IK controllers to whatever it is that needs to be done. Another example to show how ready to go assets are, we go from parameters to an asset. You know, I used to work in crowd simulation before, and it used to be a pain to define like IK chains on the legs, set the contact points and whatnot. And here we can very quickly go from parameters to rigs that are ready to go. This is just a very simple example of one asset that I replicate 16 times to show how the legs adapt with an uneven terrain in the animation. And every pose from that point on is different and unique. I mentioned Houdini was really good at generating a lot of data, so this is what we're showing here. Up until now, we're showing just, I guess, one asset at a time type of workflow. But the same way you had one row of parameters, you could have a lot of them, and then you get a lot of characters. It's ready to go. You know, you can export them or you can use them inside of Houdini, depending on what you need to do. If I let the video play, you will get to see like 2,500 unique rigs generated pretty quickly. So, okay, let's switch gears a bit. Like we talked about Houdini being really good at generating a lot of data. Okay, there's another thing that I mentioned that was really good at, which was manipulating geometry in creative ways. So, okay, and we use the simple model to create like stylized characters or cool looking characters for a game or short film, whatever. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just taking simple models that I'm generating by parameters and then apply some geometry manipulations on top to, you know, apply this Voronoi pattern and turn him into some organic or cellular looking guy, like what you see on the display. Voila, you get assets that are pretty cool. We call these the jelly bean guys because they resemble like jelly bean pack type of characters. The interesting thing about this is that we use the simple model, which is generally used to generate human shapes and skeletons, but because it's so robust, you can push the parameters, you can push them to be out of distribution, and you can still get things that might not look like a standard human, but the rig is correct. And you can use it to generate all these characters that you can take to different places, not just for standard looking humans. This is just screen grabs straight from Unreal to show that we don't only have them working in Houdini, you can export them, and then you have an FBX or GLB, you can take them anywhere to be able to do what we did before with the simple characters and the characters we're retargeting to. These are procedurally generated. Say that you are not happy with the result, you want more taller characters, or you want smaller cells or whatever. Go back to Houdini, change a number, export, and within seconds you have, a whole bunch of assets ready to go again. And yeah, there are some of them unreal, especially this one, like very. Yeah, okay, that's the end of the presentation. To summarize, we have explored how you can leverage Meshcapade's technology in different ways to create assets that are ready for production very quickly. We have looked at the platform, we have looked at the Real plugin, we have looked at this experimental Houdini plugin, but most importantly, we're very interested in hearing what people think about Sean, or if you have any ideas, or if you would like to see this type of thing in a different DCC. Basically, we are here to hear your thoughts. Without further ado, I think I'll wrap it up there.